Welcome back to Sambo's Spot Moves. I'm Sam, and today we are making a John Deere 4450, totally custom. So I have this little model here. I was kind of had it in a I don't want this anymore pile, and then I was looking at it and I thought, you know, I really need a project, and I've been wanting to do this. So it's a pretty nice little model, but it's not very detailed. And I also had this John Deere 4840 that I got as a spare. So we'll just get that out of the box real quick, and it's a pretty nice tractor. You can see nice wheels and tires and detailed weights and a steerable axle, actually, which is kind of rare for 1/64th and 3-point. And the cool thing about this is that it's all authentic, so that when the wheels turn, the steering wheel turns. So I just had this sitting around. I had two, and I was like, I need a project for this. I didn't know if I just wanted to rob the wheels off of it or what, so I was gonna use it for this. And you'll see what my plan is here in a second. So this doesn't have cab glass, and the other one does, but I wanted a smaller sound guard tractor, such as the 4450 or 4440, and not a 4840, which is basically one of the biggest ones there is. So you can see some differences there, and obviously the authentic one looks better in general because of the cab glass and the nice detailed back wheels and such. But however, I think that the engine bay in the 4450 whole engine looks better. Anyways, the first thing to do is take the wheels and tires off. I actually think that these off the 4450 look better. Now they need a little painting and stuff, and the inside duals are a little more detailed or realistic for what you'd find, but I'm gonna go with what's on the other tractor. So to get a new blade on there on the X-Acto knife, and then we're just gonna use the Dremel here. It's a Dremel torch, so I have an attachment on it to blow heat. It will loosen up the stickiness on the decals, and then I also tried to pull these steps off, however it didn't work, so I just cut them. And then you can pull the decals off basically, just easy. I think you can see here that they just kind of fall right off, so then you don't have to worry about them ripping. So I always use water when I drill out rivets. It kind of acts as a lubricant, I think. A lot of people would use oil, especially like in a metal fabrication shop. However, this is die cast and it's pretty soft, and the water seems to do the trick, and then it kind of helps with the dust, but at the same time, anytime it's in another hand, it kind of sticks to the tractor, I guess. So there's one rivet there in the engine bay, and there's one rivet here at the hit, and then the other thing I realized is you have to take the cab off, and then the tractor should just split apart with a little bit of prying and a little finagling. There's the axle that came out. There's like a little burr thing, sorry for the blurry video, and you can see here all the pieces coming out, and I'll have them all right in a little pile. But first, there was 4 rivets holding the cab on, as well as the steering wheel. There was one, so I was just doing some cutting. There's quite a bit of parts that went into this one, and we're going to do the same to that one. So, pull the wheels off. Now the inside duals actually look kind of cool. You don't see that usually. Did some drilling out, and then we got this guy, and then we just popped him out. That's to take out the... Actually, no. That's to take out the cab. There's so many rivets on this thing. These was to take off the 3-point. I was going to put that on the other one. However, this one's a little bigger, and it fits a little weirder, so I did some prying and stuff for that. Try not to ruin it too much. There's actually a pin going through, and I wasn't about to drill a hole on the other one. There's too much to go wrong, if you know what I mean. So the cab, or the hood, kind of opens, and then after you have those rivets drilled out, the whole thing pretty much falls apart. The hood is pretty nice because there's no seam the way they made it, but we're still going to fill in the seam. We're not going to use that hood. So you can see this kind of nose thing sticking out. That's what goes down, attaches to the steering wheel, then goes into the axle to make it steer. Here you can see the difference. There's probably a half-inch difference on those hoods, and in real life that would be almost a foot, I would think. So I was trying to grind down here the front weights off, so then I could make those more realistic front weight bracket and then put new weights on. It got a little messed up, but a little JB weld makes a world of difference. I'm gonna put these weights on. They're actually a more modern version that would not be on that tractor. There'd be more square weights that would be on those sound guards from factories. I don't even know if that would work realistically, but I thought it would be kind of interesting. Plus, I had them laying around. So I cut those little spindles off, which is a bad idea. I did this before, and then you glue some pipes on there and then put a straight pin through and a whole little process, but it just didn't seem to work this time for some reason, and backed the project up a bit. That's why this video came a week late. So the first thing I tried was to super glue down, and it didn't work so great. You can see I had my little helping hand help out there, and then I had my Dremel here where I ground off these burrs so the casting can just squirt back together. Squirt, that's a weird word. Fit back together better. And I trimmed this little thing off because we don't need that. However, if you trim it too high, the steering wheel would fall off inside the cabin. That'd be bad. Here, that cab didn't quite fit, but first I decided to sandblast it so you see those details in the engine and stuff better. Then I was grinding down this little post thing back here and the bottom of the cab. That just kind of makes the whole thing just sit down in there right, and you can see that now the bottom is flush with the body, I guess you could call it. And then I just give the wire brush. I feel like that, maybe it's just a peace of mind, but I feel like it does something to kind of help with paint sticking. Before I do that, obviously, we have to JB weld it together. Sometimes I use super glue and like a glazing putty, but I decided to use JB weld this time, just kind of because I felt like it. That way I only had to mix it up once. I could glue it together and then fill in the seam all at one shot. Plus I had quite a bit to fill in and stick together, and that would be a lot of super glue, and glazing putty doesn't always work that good, so JB weld's really the way to go there. I always fit it together once just to make sure it fits, and then I just put some JB weld all around here. After I put it together, I made sure to put a clamp on it. I almost did forget though that I was going to put that axle in there because that way it doesn't fall out, which I really haven't had a problem with, and I think that was also part of why I had trouble with it falling apart, which you'll see in a minute. So I used the excess JB weld to kinda, I forgot about that, just to fill in the seam really, just put a little extra on top, and it's really good if you pack it in there. I feel like I can never pack it in quite right. Afterwards, after it was dry, probably about 24 hours later, I got my file out, filed it down, sanded it down, made it all smooth, and I went around the little gas caps and stuff that were on there, so I didn't have to recreate those, which would be kind of a pain in the butt since they're already there. So now it's all smooth and shiny, and all the little gaps are filled in, just to make sure everything fits. The wheels and the cab should work, and then here I put in those straight pins there, so then the wheel will go on there. I just kind of put the back wheels on with a toothpick just to kind of line things up, and these were the front wheels off the other one, the 4450. I'm going to use the ones off the 4840, so the back axle will fit since I'm using different back wheels on the different casting, if that makes sense. I have to make tubes because the opening in the wheels are bigger than the openings in the tractor body where the axle goes through, so I put that in there so the axle kind of makes everything work. There's a lot of weird little details on this project that I didn't expect would come up, and there'd be as many as there were. So this guy was riveted on. That's actually a metal wheel, which I was kind of impressed with. So I drilled that out, and then I pulled my hardest and kind of whacked the camera. Ouch. And then I gave this guy 2 coats of paint, and I used Ace paint, and if you ever use that, it takes forever to dry. So I used a hairdryer to help that process along. I don't think it did anything bad. So here I'm fitting the wheels on. I just kind of put a couple on, then mark it, and then do a whole little process there. I don't think I'm showing all that. Here I put in some glazing putty, and I put on in the back of the wheel there a pipe, and then the whole thing there. The air cleaner, air filter, air intake, whatever you call it, came out easy. That broke off, which was kind of inconvenient, but it's not the biggest deal. So on the muffler here, I'm just going to poke a little hole and then drill a straight hole in down through it, so that makes it nice and straight. Then I can stick a toothpick in. You'll see that whole process later. But I never go and finish one project right away. I kind of move about. That way I don't get bored and I can think about things. So I cut a little piece of a paper clip off here. Always make sure you hold on to the little piece you're cutting, otherwise it flies through the room and it takes you 5 minutes to find it, or you just make a new one. So I sanded that burr down nice, and this is a little detail that's going to go on the back of the tractor. So I made 2 of them, and there's 2 that go on either side of the hitch here. I did grind the hitch off of the 4840, and I made a little Pto Guard out of brass. A little 2 dabs of super glue make these little guys go on. I'm really not sure what they are. I googled a picture and they were on the picture. So, like I said, I don't know what they are, but I know they're there, and I didn't add all the little details. I added some. I'm not sure what they are. So, I put a little super glue. Now we're back to the exhaust. Then I put an old toothpick in there, cut it off, and then I jammed that down where the opening was, where the old exhaust was. But before I do that, I just put a little dust on there to make some rust. I was looking at pictures, and it seems like quite a few have some rusty mufflers, and most Sound Guard tractors that I've seen, I think they're pretty cool, but a lot of them are rusty. I didn't weather this one though. I think it looks pretty good the way it was. So that's the gas cap, I think, and I put a little red on there, like it. I think it was, maybe not. And I put black on the other one. Here I'm gonna paint. I think that's the starter, maybe. And then there is I think the fuel filter or the air filter. You can tell I'm a good mechanic. I painted these things there in the wheels yellow, and then I did paint the starter, or maybe that's a starter or something, maybe something else, on the engine bay gray there. And then I painted parts of I painted these black. They were little 2 pieces of a toothpick. I think they represent the hydraulic input plug-ups or something. I'm not very good with my terminology, but I know you know what I mean. So there, I just painted up the back there and did a whole little shebang. Here I'm gluing on the decals, and I didn't show all this process because it's easy to screw up and the camera kind of makes things worse, so I just took a straight pin and put all the glue along. You can see here also I painted parts of the side black, and then I stuck the decal one. It's the original one off of this tractor, the 4450. Obviously I couldn't put the 4840 on because it's not that. So put a little dab of glue there, put my little front John Deere logo one, which kind of makes the whole thing work. And you can see here that one of those steerable pieces on the axle broke off, and they broke off like 8 times. I don't even know how many. It wasn't probably that many. So I glued them on, JB welded them on, dropped it once, fixed it again. It was quite the ordeal. I think I'm gonna maybe in the future cut that off and restart. That was plastic glue I showed you, and I used that to glue on the weights to the tractor because I know that plastic glue doesn't bond plastic and metal too well, but I know that it can, so that I can take them off if I want. I painted the rest green, and now we're looking at the final product, which I think doesn't look too bad. It could use a 3-point hitch as well. Like I said, I was running out of time, and I was kind of just done trying to figure stuff out. And the front does steer and the whole shebang. So that's my little John Deere 4450. Thanks for coming along for the ride. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll have another video in 2 weeks with a little stop motion. Thanks for stopping by.